Did you know that there are four main types of innovation? But most people like to think that innovation is when you do something magnificent that nobody has ever done before. Well, that is also a type of innovation, but there are others. In this video, we're going to explore the four main types of innovation that you would encounter, especially in business. These innovations are based on two factors: technology and markets. Under technology, we are looking at if your innovation is creating a new technology or it is leveraging existing technology. And under markets, we are looking at if it is creating a new market or it is trying to take over an existing market. Now, those are the two factors. The first type of innovation is incremental innovation. Incremental innovation is when you are improving the product or service using existing technology and improving it to serve an existing market. So your plan is not to break into a new market, and your plan is not to build a brand new technology. That is incremental innovation, just improving the product to continue to satisfy existing customers. That is a good example of that is what Apple does with their iPhone. So they improve the iPhone 11 to get the iPhone 12. They improved the iPhone 12 to get the iPhone 13. They improved the iPhone 13 to get the iPhone 14, and you understand what I mean. So that is incremental innovation. They are targeting their existing customer base and they are not trying to reinvent the iPhone. Another example is what you have with Toyota and many other auto manufacturers. For example, the Toyota Camry, you can see Toyota Camry 2009 to 11 to 12 or 221, 22, 23. It is the same type of vehicle with almost the exact same engine, but little improvements here and there to create the new versions of the same product. And at the end of the day, they are targeting the same customers. They are not trying to break into any new customer market. It is same customers and the same type of technology, but with continuous improvement. That is incremental innovation. The second type of innovation is disruptive innovation. Disruptive innovation is when you try to break into an existing market. Maybe there is a product in the market that is already dominating the market, but you want to now get a huge chunk of that market share. That is when you do disruptive innovation, because in disruptive innovation, you are bringing new technology, you are building new technology, but your target is not for a new market, this is for an existing market. And this is usually done by startups and up and coming businesses because they try to break into a market that is already dominated by one big company or a product or service, and they want to get some of that market share, and so they build a product or a service using new technology that is usually proprietary to them, but their target is to get people's attention from the existing product and get people to use their new product. That is disruptive innovation, because you are disrupting and interrupting the flow of business in that market. You want people to leave this existing market this existing product and come to your own. A good example of that, there is a lot of examples, beginning with the distribution and sale of music. People used to buy music as CD plates, but CD and DVD. But before you know it, downloads came on board and we started seeing websites. I remember here in Nigeria, we had websites like waptrick.com. And so music download killed the CDs and VCDs and DVD. But now streaming has killed music downloads. So a lot of people no longer want to download 200, 300 songs on their phone. They'll prefer to stream it directly from Spotify or any other streaming platform out there. That is disruptive innovation. Another good example of disruptive innovation is what we have in Nigeria by the company called Chowdeck. People normally like to buy food from restaurants, and sometimes they would actually take the number of these restaurants and call them on phone for home delivery or office delivery. But if you wanted to eat from 5 different restaurants, you would have to have 5 different numbers and contacting 5 different people. So Chowdeck created a system using technology right? They brought a new technology that created this system that serves the same customer base, the same market, but uses technology, to disrupt that flow of business. And now the users and the customers in that market have a variety of restaurants to order from using Chowdeck's technology. And of course, Chowdeck has gotten, that market share. In fact, they are leading in that space right now. That is what you get with disruptive innovation. The third one is architectural innovation. So you have a product, you want to push it to a new market, but the market doesn't like the product as it exists, so you have to adjust the architecture of that product. It is the same technology that it is operating with, but you adjust the architecture, you tweak it, right? So that it can serve a new market. So in architectural innovation, it is same technology, but a new market. A good example of architectural innovation is with watches. A lot of people don't like the idea of strapping a leather to their wrist from morning till night. So they don't wear watches. And as smartphones, as phones began to come out and get smart, people would even tell you, why should I wear a watch when I can just look at the time on my phone? My watch can never tell better time than my smartphone, right? So what these watch manufacturing companies did was to step back and ask themselves, okay, can we squeeze the architecture? Can we tweak the architecture of a watch to accommodate a smartphone? And the answer was yes. Although some of the features will be lost, but yes, they were able to adjust and to tweak and to innovate the architecture of their watches to accommodate what? Smartphones. And that is how they created this thing known as smartwatches. And today, a lot of people who would normally not wear watches are wearing these watches because they are called smartwatches. So that is how you use architectural innovation to create a new market, but using existing technology. The watch is an existing technology, the smartphone is an existing technology, but they had to work on the architecture of these two products to put them, to use them to create a new market. Another example is with printing machines and photocopying machines. These things used to be very big. People would go to a computer center or whatever they call it to go and print out their work. So because it was very big, people didn't care about buying one, and you can't carry that into your house. So years later, the companies that were manufacturing these products decided to make compact and smaller printing machines, even though many of them were focused only on A4 paper size, but they were small enough for people to do their basic needs like scanning, printing, and photocopying. And that is how the idea of people owning their own printing machine began to spread. And so it created a new market of people who would normally not want to buy these huge printing machines. That is what you get with architectural innovation. You have a product, you adjust the architecture so that it will suit a new market, a group of people who wouldn't care about it previously. That is architectural innovation. Number 4 is radical innovation. Radical innovation is when we create a new product using new technology and we create it for a new market. So radical innovation creates a new something almost like no one has ever done it before, and it creates a new market, a group of everybody now wants this. A good example, going back, is the aeroplane. Before the advent of the aeroplane, which of course the aeroplane took a lot of innovation. The first people who invented it didn't perfect it enough, so different companies, different people were working on this product. But the coming of the aeroplane created a new market of people who didn't want to leave their country to travel across the ocean, or to leave their continent to travel across the ocean to another part of the world. But because you're going to spend weeks on a ship, but by virtue of create the aeroplane, people were eager to now travel, because instead of spending weeks on a ship, you're going to just spend hours on a plane. Another example is the drones. We've had these electric helicopters or these toy planes, but when DJI created the quadcopters, which you and I call the drone, but the idea of putting 4 electric motors into one aircraft created a new type of drone that really created a new market, because now people could add camera to it for surveillance and every other thing. It created a new market. It was new technology and it created a new market. So it is a radical innovation. It doesn't really look like anything that existed before it. That is the 4 types of innovation that you will encounter: incremental innovation, disruptive innovation, architectural innovation, and radical innovation. Innovation is very interesting and I love it, and that is why I like to talk about it. And of course, I'll be doing more videos like this to discuss innovative processes and innovative products that I have my eyes on. So if you like this video, comment and send a thumbs up and share it with anyone who you think would find it useful. And let me know, what type of innovation are you working on right now for your business or your product or any side project that you have. I will reply your comments. Thank you for watching.